Hi, welcome to First Church of Religious Science here in New York City. I want to give a welcome to all of you who are signing in now this morning, all of you who have been here for our meditation. Welcome to First Church. Welcome to our wonderful Zoom community, our virtual community. I'm reminded to say we are a hybrid community, meaning if you're in the New York area and you'd like to come and be a part of our studio audience, just let us know and we'll guide you here. I want to give a welcome to everybody who's signing in for the first time. We are a New Thought Center. This center was created by Raymond Charles Barker. Louise was probably our most famous student. We meet 3 times a week. Wednesday night, Jimmy, conducts our Creative Living series, and he has guest speakers like Lady V and others, and workshops. And so it's a wonderful place to come on a Wednesday night at 7. And Thursday, I've been conducting a self-healing class based upon the teaching. It's the teachings of Ernest Holmes and Louise Hay. I've been very involved with the Louise Hay material since the book first came out, and we've been facilitating workshops and groups ever since. So please join Thursdays at 7 if you're interested. Every Sunday morning, we have a spiritual gathering. As you know, you're here. And if you're listening later, if you're listening on YouTube or X or Facebook, I'd love to have you send us a message with your contact information so we can at least send you an e-letter with some of our offerings, the classes we have. We always have some affirmative prayers, and we'll give you lots of information of how you can participate. Our group has grown to a point where we're figuring out what to do with it, and it's really a good thing, so I'm really grateful. We're getting lots and lots of messages, and we're responding to people as best we can. If you're watching us on Facebook in a rebroadcast or YouTube, please send your information again so we can, if we have your email and your phone number, we can send you an e-letter and keep you up to date. If we have your phone number, we usually send out a gentle reminder when there's an activity going on one of our classes. So the other thing I wanted to mention is we don't really charge for anything that we do. Everything is a love offering basis. That being said, we still do have bills. So if someone feels moved to support our work in any way, in the chat, you'll see our mailing address. You'll see different ways that someone could support the center if they wanted to. So that's it. Send us a message for anything you need. We're developing a catalog of affirmative prayers, some 300. There'll be daily prayers, and then there will be affirmative prayers for specific challenges. So that's well underway. So anyway, I'm glad to see you all. Your energy, your commitment means a lot to us. It gets us wanting to do more and do better. We look forward, after everything we do, we have a time for personal sharing. So after today's talk, for example, we'll give you an opportunity to talk about the lesson or what's going on in your life. And that's really become a very special part of the service. Please don't ever think that you're obligated to share. We don't want to necessarily put you on the spot, but it's an opportunity for you to join with like-minded people and say, hey, I'm from Arizona, or I'm from Vermont, or wherever you are. And I found over the past year or so that people have formed some really great relationships in this community. So I encourage you to participate. At least say hi or whatever you'd like to say. So I need to shout out a warm embrace to our growing audience on Facebook and YouTube in particular, and X, because people are watching. They're taking these lessons to heart, and it's improving people's lives all over the world. So I'm humbled, and we're most grateful. So thank you, thank you. If you're ever in the same time zone, please join one of our Zoom calls so we can all interact with you. Your presence, each and every one of you, if you're in your home, your living room right now, or you're at the gym listening to us, or wherever you are, your presence, all of you, collectively amplifies the reach of our message. Our work is going far, and we're honored to have you all here together. I already mentioned the classes. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I'm needing to mention here. I guess that's it. Stuart Grayson, I don't talk about quite as much. I didn't know him terribly well. He was the second pastor of First Church. Raymond Charles Barker, of course, we listen to all the time. He was our founder, and he was a very colorful person. But Stuart was a person I met. I read his book. And Louise, again, as you all know, is probably our most famous student. Barker was a bit of an intellectual. He had a different approach than, I said Grayson, rather, was the intellectual. He had a little bit different approach than Barker, a little bit more studious. And he wrote a book, I remember reading, The 10 Commandments and some other things. And he has an audience still in this area of students. I had a lesson of his that I looked through, and I liked it because it was what I'll call straight science of mind. By that I mean, it's talking about principle. When you're getting into new thought and science of mind, they would teach the ministers, they would tell us many years ago, teach principle. And the idea about teaching principle is teaching the fact that life is responding to people. You know, they told us as ministers, before we became ministers, get excited about that divine fact that life responds to the person. Life always responds. It has to. It's what it does. So Dr. Grayson was a little bit of a purist. I think I am too. He used different language than I do, and he used different language than Louise Hay. But he was teaching principle. You know, God in you, as you, is you, and it's responding to you. So let's start with that. So I'm going to do a little bit of his work for you today. So again, welcome to First Church of Religious Science. Let's dive into this sacred moment together. I want to start with an affirmative statement. I'm borrowing from Mr. Grayson, Dr. Grayson. So let's know and affirm in the first person. I am the creation of a cosmic intelligence and an infinite knower, an infinite being that resides in me and all of us, that knows, that is clear. I am one with the consciousness of the infinite mind. Therefore, I am spirit. I am learning to live the affirmative life and to contemplate great and expansive ideas. As I commune with them, I bring forth results in my world. I know this is true for me and for all of you, and so it is. So today we're going to be talking about our primal relationship, the relationship we have with life itself, which is spirit. We want to talk about and think about our connection with spirit. You'll hear me say every week, God in me, as me, is me. I live in it, I move in it, I have my being in it. Grayson, Dr. Grayson would be saying the same thing. He said, we want to understand it better. We want to learn how to enhance our relationship with it. So each of us, you will hear us say, are individualizations of this creative process. You're one with it, right? So that means we're going to approach it in lots of different ways, because there's lots of different people. Everyone's an individualization. Everyone, I say that often. You don't know how spectacular you are. You're one in a billion. And really, more than that, there's never been another one like you. So we approach life, this creative process, knowing that we're different. and knowing that life is going to respond to us personally, we can start out by saying with certainty that there is one energy that permeates everything. Humankind has been given the most precious, precious gift. We have self-awareness. In all the world and all the evolution of time, we are awake in this, and we can reflect that life is responding to us. That's really a pretty great thing. Dr. Barker was saying, in every way we're writing our own script. It's done unto us as we believe. And that's pretty exciting. We're not just living our life like the animals in the forest. We're living our life and we're awake. And we're realizing, oh my goodness, I'm awake in this thing and it responds to me. And as I change my thinking, my reality will change. As I change the way I believe and think, my whole world will show up in a different way. Grayson said, we wake up to the fact that in some way, somehow, it responds to us. There's probably hundreds and probably thousands of names for this power. Of course, we all know God, source, energy, creative intelligence, spirit. There's endless names for it. And we don't get caught up in the names here. You can use your own. The way I learned in ministerial schools, they used to say, it is that which can't be named. Because whatever it is, it's going to be much more than anything I could ever describe it. But it's an energy, it's the thing itself, which is what Ernest Holmes called it. So we don't get caught up in names too much, nor do we here at least get involved in superstition or thinking that there's some personal guy up there that's rewarding some people and punishing other people. That's a thought that I had when I was in grade school every day when I went to church before school. We don't have that. We don't have an anthropomorphic sense of a deity, a guy or a woman or anything else that's up there rewarding people and punishing other people. We move more towards the idea that there's a presence and there's a power that's in operation always as law. And through our study, our science of mind and new thought, and our observation, we learn how to use it. We learn how to use it because we have concluded that there is a power that is within all of us and that it responds to us. Not necessarily the way we want it to either, but there is that which is within you that does respond to you all the time, 24/7. I tell my story about Mary Curowitz like every fourth week lately. But when I was a kid, I was a Catholic kid, and I was an altar boy. And I thought I was a sinner, and I knew how to pray. And she used to say, you were a child of a lesser God. And she explained, because sometimes your prayers were answered, sometimes they weren't. And you spent a lot of time praying. You prayed when we were in trouble. And I said, yes, yes, yes. And this is the quote that I want you to hear, which I say all the time. Mary said to me, Greg, the universe so absolutely loves you that it responds to your every single thought. It doesn't miss a single one. So that's the spirit that we talk about here. That's our primary relationship, which is the name of this particular talk from Grayson, is the knowledge that the spirit that is within us responds to our every single thought. It doesn't miss a single one. So if I hope you can bring in some of that and realize, God, life, creative intelligence is responding to me. It doesn't miss a single thought. We live in it, we move in it, we have our being in it. You don't have to worry about it. You are supplied and supported in ways you can't even comprehend yourself. Lessons will come to you. There will be lessons you won't like. But everything that comes to you is coming for you to bring you to a higher place of understanding. So we live in this life and we begin to trust in the process of it. It would seem that the universe is unfolding everywhere and with everyone, with or without their consent. going back to Mr. Grayson's talk. If we think of life like a school, which is what one of my teachers always said, you'll get an idea of how it works. We're here learning, we're here expanding, we're here growing, and we're always experiencing new things at every point in our life, and every day. There's always more to learn, there's more to experience. And if we have kind of like a child's mind, or if we can learn to be in the moment and not living in the past, we can find that our days are very exciting because it's such an interesting, universe. I need to have the shift in consciousness so I can see the beauty. The kingdom of God is at hand. It always has been. But what happens is our filters we can only see the way we see. And so as you come to a teaching like this, we're always going to ask you to. There was a book Chuck C. wrote, put on a new pair of glasses. Find a new way to look at it. Another one I'm fond of, as many of you know, is I could see peace instead of this. Meaning you can see anything in a new way if you really want to. So Dr. Grayson's saying there's always more to learn and to experience. We will accomplish a lot in this life, but we'll make mistakes while we're learning. We are one with the process. We are evolving. Doesn't matter if we make a mistake. There's that corny line that we use. Just because we make mistakes doesn't mean we are mistakes. We're evolving and we're growing, and we see other people along the way, and we don't want to judge anybody because they're all doing the best they can with what they know, what they understand. And it's wonderful. You'll look back in your life and you'll look at the mistakes you've made, and you will see that there was the hand of the divine in the whole process, because we don't believe in coincidence. We believe that everything happens. Everything's out picturing in divine order. We're evolving in our understanding. Now here's the thing, we can learn to cooperate with the process of life. Back when I was younger and I was learning about this stuff, they would say, well, I can align with life. I don't have to make all the mistakes, because life was going to give me clues, and if I don't listen, if I don't pay attention, I might get a 2x4, and the lessons will come around and round and round. We're here to grow. Think of it like school. We're here to learn lessons. So we don't want to work against the process of life, because you get the 2x4. If I have a lot of attachments, in other words, life can be very painful. If I'm learning to trust the process of life, then I'm going with the flow. And it will deliver me a life that's bigger and better than anything I would have created for myself. So my suggestion here is, I don't usually use this one, let go and let God. That's something I learned in a 12-step program many years ago. Louise would say, we can learn to trust the process of life. And as we do that, we learn to align ourselves with what we imagine the creative substance to be. And we usually talk about peace, power, love, joy, beauty, wisdom, all these great truths. We don't go against the flow of life. We see harmony, we see peace. We know we can see peace instead of anything we're seeing. There's a line I love from another book. The peace of God is my one goal, my purpose, my function in my life. Whatever I'm putting ahead of that is going to come back to cause me problems. So we work with the idea of peace. So let me get back to Dr. Grayson, who's talking about our primal relationship. He says, we're all trying to tap into the same thing. Now, some people call it, he said, the higher power, and other people talk about God. Some say the infinite or the divine mind. Very often, I like to label it, he said, creative intelligence. And he said, because intelligence is not just intellectual. Intelligence is something very personal also. It's intimate. It's something that I can relate to emotionally and intellectually. So getting back to Dr. Grayson, he said there's a creative activity going on within all of us all the time. And he says it involves our thinking and our emotions. And then we have this fantastic thing called spirit that's within us, and it's ever available to us also if we go there and inquire within. So we're always being presented with ideas all through the day. Ideas just stream through most of our heads moment by moment. And he said, obviously, if you think about it, we're part of a great mind, a great knowing with all these ideas. He said, whatever this thing is that we are all talking about, whatever this power is always communicating to us and through our own minds and our consciousness. And it's shaping our experience. So he says that's something that's undeniable if you just think about it. You just think of your mind and all the thoughts that come through. So he said this thing has always been there. We say it's infinite with no beginning. It's a presence. It's a primal reality. That's the name of his talk today, the primal relationship. There is that power which is within you, which he's trying to talk about, a source from which everything comes. We're all connected to it. Each of us are inlets of it, and we're also outlets of it. We receive all this information. It goes into our consciousness. We absorb it subjectively. We take in, we express what we know, and we're always learning, to express more. So we don't want to be judging anyone because everyone is in a place of personal evolution. So let's release the need to judge ourselves. So let's release the need to judge other people because we're all here growing and evolving. We are each living and breathing aspects of this creative substance, and we're all expressing life. Some people have a lot of awareness. Some people have they've come into the world with a lot of awareness, or they've learned a lot. And we learn from people. There's great thinkers, there's great minds. I was told when I was younger, you can commune with some of the greatest minds that have ever lived. And I try to. I do my best to keep learning more, to express more. So there's people that are come in with a lot and they learn a lot, and then there's some other folks that, they're not expressing a lot of understanding, but every person, no matter who they are, wherever they are expressing life. They're doing the best they can with what they know, and they too are growing and evolving. We all are. So Dr. Grayson was, again, when he was talking about inlets and outlets, he said the universe is always giving us ideas to consider. It's bringing us lesson after lesson after lesson. And we are created in freedom. I remember my mother when I was younger, she would always say, it's always up to you. And it's true. Each and every day of your life, it's a choice. Each and every moment of your life is a choice. You can be in a new moment, and all of it can be washed away from the past. Raymond Charles Barker was fond of saying, yesterday ended last night. And it's true, but some of us just won't let it end because we want to keep dragging that stuff into the present. And it doesn't have to be that way. We can be in a new moment. We can look to this day and the life of life, as I quote from the Sanskrit proverb often. So Grayson was saying the universe is giving us so much information to consider, and it brings us lesson after lesson. And once again, we are created in freedom. And that's really wonderful. So it doesn't matter if you're 28 or you're 88, you can look at life in a new way. You're not stuck. You are spirit in action. So don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't do this, you can't do that, because the thing is, you're able. You have vast resources within you. You can think, you can see peace or good. You can change it all by virtue of your thoughts and your thinking. So I've been informed many years ago, life gives clues. There was a minister friend who always used to say that. And she would say, if you don't learn the lesson this time, it doesn't matter too much because it will get represented again and again and again. And that's where they were joking around about you can get a little nudge from spirit. You have a moment of inspiration, or you can get a 2x4, you can get something, bigger. So I want to have the willingness to learn the lessons. I know most of you do too. The roots of our being, Dr. Grayson said, are deeply embedded in nature. And he said, and we're being nourished by it with new ideas and new moments all the time. So we can make corrections. You know, I say we have an internal guidance system. We're always able to be in a new moment and to make a correction. That was something that came from Emerson. He said, I profess this, profoundly today with the provision I can change my mind tomorrow. And we do that because there's always going to be new information. So we're evolving, all of us. We want to have the willingness to release the judgments. Many of us have a lot of judgments and they get us absolutely nowhere. So again, the peace of God is my one goal. It'd be better for us to move in that direction and, let go and let God and understand that, we're evolving and we're wonderful and we're evolving in love and intelligence, and so is everybody else. Dr. Grayson was saying the flow of intelligence just keeps coming and coming, and it's up to us to choose. We can choose to embrace the good, to know that this unfolding creativity is in us, operating through us. We can choose to never, never, never criticize ourselves because we're rooted in this spectacular thing called spirit, source, this singular reality, and we're all connected to it, and we're connected with everyone else everywhere. So we're being nurtured all the time. Spirit is always attempting to get our attention all the time. And Holmes would say we have power to use. There's power for good in the universe greater than you, of which you can use. And we're using it. Some of us are using it very constructively. We're thinking positively, we're living affirmatively, and we see all these outpicturings, which are demonstrations of the positive use of our power. Then there's others of us who are doing some version of ain't it awful, and we're always talking about the worst thing that's going to happen, and that type of thinking produces a different kind of result. So if you're here, I know already that you know that you're here working on yourself. You're doing the work. You're doing the inner work to live the affirmative life. We're living, Dr. Grayson said, in a spiritual system, and we can tap into that system. We can center ourselves at any time and invite that awareness into our minds. And we can do it. You're at work and you're having a tough day, you can go into the restroom. Just take a couple minutes. You can find a way to take that pause. And because that spirit, that awareness is always there. If you turn to it, it's just like turning on the switch. We have such a wonderful teaching. We can develop incredible self-mastery with this teaching if we just take the time to pause, reflect, and allow that guidance to come through. We are part of a spiritual system, a source. We are one with the one. This spirit or creative intelligence is very much alive in each and every one of us. We communicate through thoughts, ideas, feelings. We communicate by means of our consciousness. You'll usually hear me say, the whole world is evolving along or evoluting along. We don't want to judge it. We have a brief life, and we're here to experience it with joy and to learn and to grow. We're not here to judge life. We're here to love ourselves. We're here to love the world. Everything, that was Louise. Not Barker, Dr. Grayson would say, it's all spirit in action. It's life expressing itself in tremendous diversity. There's a tendency in our limited experience to try to judge things. We judge a lot, and it's a huge waste of time. It gets us a lot of trouble. So let's, as much as we can, let's release the need to judge ourselves or others. He commented, there's a tendency in our limited experience to judge everything. From a distance, I can say this as I'm getting a lot older, you can look back and you can see how all these occurrences really were, as tough as they were, really brought you to a wonderful place. So from a distance, there's a peace and there's an unfathomable intelligence that's always unfolding. You'll see it as you get to a certain point, you look back. It's always life's longing for itself, because life is always going forward with tremendous intelligence. Human beings are all different individualizations of spirit, and they operate on a much higher level than other things. It's said that we're made in the image and likeness of the divine. And because we have thought, and because we can reason, we communicate and commune with life, and we can observe how life is responding to us. There is this principle that I spoke of that exists, and it's in operation. Those that are communing with life and plugged in or tapped into it can sense it and feel it. We have to come to understand that we live in it. And as we commune with it more and more, we will rely on it more and more. We trust in it more. The average person out there in these years, they don't think this way for the most part. They don't relate to the idea that there's a creative principle responding to them. A lot of the world has given up on the idea of there being a higher being at all. And so they don't rely on it. In this teaching, we learn to live the affirmative life. We work with our affirmations. We trust life, and we have more and more peace, joy, and happiness because we trust life. We trust in the process. What Dr. Grayson was getting about in this talk is our primal relationship, knowing that we are one with the one. We're evolving, all of us are evoluting, as I say. We're always going, as we do, we're always going to be witnessing more and more because creative intelligence is an activity that's always unfolding. It's fantastic to be living at this time in this time and space because everything is working so quickly. We can see just the rapid expansion of everything. And we can know that there's one power and one presence that's operating in us and through us. We can know that this source, this primal intelligence, is in everything all the time. And it expresses through many layers and many levels of nature and of being. As human beings, Dr. Grayson was suggesting with intelligence, we can think about our relationship with it. We can tap into it. There's this infinite well of love and intelligence, and it's always there for us. We can call it forth, and we can tap into its intelligence and its guidance. So that's exciting to know it's always there. We have this internal guidance system. And as we learn to commune with it and invite it into our lives and our day-to-day living, our whole life will change. When you're knowing that you're part of this energy, and you're supplied and supported, you're one with the one, you won't be interested so much in criticizing yourself or others because you're going to want to commune with it more and more. From this awareness that we have of this connection, we can heal our lives, we can heal our thinking, we can heal our relationships, and we can live in a much greater amount of peace and happiness. Of course, our own Louise, who received her education here at this center, her spiritual education, and who wrote the book, You Can Heal Your Life, she said there are the conditions in your life can be healed. You can transform your life. In most cases, you can heal your life. You can certainly improve just about everything. Most of you who have been around here for a while know well that inner transformations bring about outer changes. You'll hear me say, as within, so without. If I heal my thoughts and my thinking, I will start to see my life change. You can work on healing your body, you can work on healing your relationships. So you have this primal relationship and life responds to you. There's an unlimited account of good available to you and for you, said Dr. Grayson. Let's start each day by knowing that it's here and it's available. Let's keep it in the forefront of our consciousness. This energy, this source is here. It's in you, operating through you. It's available to you now. All that is mine, I am one with this energy. No, I said it wrong. All of it is mine. I am one with it, this energy. And as we realize this omnipresence and our connection with Source, we're opening up channels in our mind to receive great good in every area. So let's do some affirmations throughout the week, saying, I know I'm connected with Source. I'm one with Source. I'm open and receptive to it. Now, scientists will discover it through the principles of science, Dr. Grayson said. Artists will discover it in their art. The universe reveals itself to people in all kinds of ways, different ways. Each of these folks that I just mentioned have a different state of consciousness. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you're all tapping into the same source. Everyone is evolving and everyone has a different level of receptivity. So that's why we really don't want to judge people. Everyone's in the right place, right time. We speak often about people being in different places of understanding, and they are. For those of us who gather here week by week, several times a week, we understand the importance of doing the inner work. We do the work. We understand that we keep working with our thoughts, our thinking. We keep working with our affirmations. Where we start in affirmative prayer with the recognition, the realization that this energy is all that there is. It's in all, it's in everyone and all the time. We have an abiding faith in the ultimate goodness of life, and that life is forever and ever expanding. That does not suggest that all people are living in this conscious connection or with the awareness of their true identity. In fact, the people who come together in new thought groups are kind of rare birds in that way, because they know who they are. They have a degree of self-realization, and they attempt to live from that place of connection. Again, everyone's in the right place at the right time. The one creative intelligence appears in and through all of us, everywhere, simultaneously, whether we are aware of it or not. Grayson was saying, and according to our individual receptivity, that's the key. We're all one with life. We know within this oneness there is wonderful diversity. If you can think of a magnificent garden with 1,000 varieties of flowers and plants, every color, every scent, all sizes, each beautiful and together magnificent. In this beautiful diversity, there are no two alike. And that's what we talk about every week when we say you are an individualization. There's never been one like you. None of us are alike. Individuality is the theme of life and of the universe, and we celebrate this diversity, and we celebrate the individual and each person's contribution. Individualism is sacred, he said, and because of this sacredness of the individual, we who practice this teaching appreciate and accept the differences that exist. This primal intelligence is what animates all of us, regardless of our religion, our background, or orientation, age, or anything else. We all have this primal relationship with this indwelling spirit. When you develop this self-knowledge, as your understanding grows, you begin to have a sense of who you really are. You're one with the one. You realize you're a spiritual being. You realize that life is responding to your every thought. You can then rely on spirit to give you the information you need. I used to say, I know and I know that I know. And spirit always gives you the information at the right time. Sometimes it'll give you suggestions of things that you need to let go of. I had a minister friend who used to say, life gives clues. And she was always saying that because Spirit reveals itself to anyone who lives and communes with this affirmative life. We can trust that Spirit is always guiding us. It's important to do work on our affirmations and to work on our affirmative prayers, because when you're doing affirmative prayers, whatever's needing to be changed or dealt with is revealed in the prayer process. So Dr. Grayson and Louise Hay, all the other greats, always suggest we center ourselves, because Spirit will always be at work, always showing us the areas that need to be adjusted. Emerson, Holmes, Grayson were all suggesting we take more time to be still and know you are God, and to be mindful and aware of our thinking, to know ourselves, to learn how to use our executive power to use different language and different thoughts, to release things that we need to release, to be mindful and aware of our thinking. to pay attention to what you're thinking about, which is what we talk about every Thursday. What has it been like being you? Because we're broadcasting all over the place. We're projecting our thoughts, and we can take charge of the broadcasting and projecting. Grayson, like Louise Hay, would say, just pay attention. Then calmly, lovingly redirect, take action, take that pause that we always talk about. Not only will it refresh you, it will allow you to remember the truth of who you are. Take a bit of time each day to reflect, a little bit of self-contemplation, and remind yourself of this primal relationship, that you are always one with the one. The first step of affirmative prayer reminds us that we're connected, we're one with Source. So we still ourselves, and we know that we are one with Spirit. As we do this, most of the things that bother us will slip away because we are releasing the need to be critical or judgmental. We are connecting with Source. As we internalize our daily affirmations and affirmative prayers, we discover our primary relationship. Always try to remember this. I am the cause to my own experience. With powerful language, say to yourself, I am the only thinker in my world. I select my thoughts, I choose my thoughts, and I know this divine principle is always acting upon my thoughts. I'm grateful that I'm being inspired every time I take the time to connect with Source, my primal relationship. So as we wind down today, we have journeyed through the exploration of our primal relationship. Let's remember this fundamental idea. We are architects of our own experience. Our thoughts, our choices, our actions shape our lives. In this moment of reflection, let's celebrate this profound power that resides within us. Let's nurture it with mindfulness and positivity, knowing that with each thought, each affirmation, we are co-creating our reality. As we go through life, let's take ownership of our thoughts and our intentions, recognizing that we hold the key to our own happiness and fulfillment. So let's close with an affirmative prayer, reminding us of our primal relationship with Spirit within. I recognize and I know, I acknowledge the boundless Spirit within me, ever present, always responding to my thoughts and intentions. I align my consciousness with the infinite potential of this primal relationship, recognizing its guidance, its presence in everything, every aspect of my life. I release any doubts or limitations that hinder my connection with this divine being within, this Source rather, opening myself up fully to its transformative power. I embrace abundance and all the blessings that flow effortlessly from this sacred union, knowing that I am supplied and supported in every way at every moment. With every bit of gratitude and faith, I affirm that my life is a reflection of the harmony and love inherent in this primal relationship. And so it is. Now we're going to turn over to each of you. It's our time for sharing, and we look forward to hearing your comments, what it's been like being you, your demonstrations. If you're new, please say you're new, where you're from. Thank you.